Okay, well, good to see everybody here. Thanks for coming. I appreciate what you do. Starting with, we'll go through quickly again. We got FIU Thursday, so today in our world is a Sunday. A little bit different though, because you didn't play a game. You know, typically you come off a Saturday, so coaches, you get habitual about your calendars or routines or superstitions or whatever you call it. And you know, the first game, and then we're playing a Thursday night game, even the second game. And then the third game's an open date, so it really is going to take about a month until you really get into a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday true routine of what's going on. But we got Florida International Thursday, 7:32 on ESPNU. It's a road travel for the opener. Last time that we had success, and we haven't played a lot of first games on the road, was I think back in about 2005 with Coach Help. You guys are aware of Coach Turner, you know, with his background from the pros, but from Illinois and the Big Ten success he had, taking those guys to the Rose Bowl. I was at Northwestern at the time, competing against his teams. Did a great job there. He's doing a great job at FIU. One of the great things about this program now is the staff. Steve Shankweiler, 42 years as the offensive coordinator, been all over the place. Ron Cooper was the head coach at Louisville, Eastern Michigan, coach from Notre Dame to Texas LSU. Kirk Dole, their special team coach. I remember after the national championship game at LSU, running into him at Harrah's after the game that night, and he was rolling craps after they did. I was mad at him because he just won the national championship from us. So they got a veteran staff. A lot of those guys have been together a long time. This is their fourth year. You got a veteran offensive line. The whole crowd's back. Quarterback's going to be one of the best players in their conference. I'd compare him very similar to the quarterback we saw last year from Western Kentucky, although the Dowdy kid was a sixth-year player. Magoo set their school record as a sophomore. Very mature, very competent. Ron's a great quarterback developer and things they put on their guys. So the front five, quarterback, maybe the best dynamic players, a multiple tight end that flexes out and had a great game against us last year. That running back's back. So everyone basically back on offense, well coached. Defensively, they have been very, very good on defense for years. Going back, we played them last year, but the year before that, they were fifth in the country in red zone defense. They've always been active, good players, good scheme. They went through some coordinators, but Coach Cooper's been there while he's a new coordinator. He's not. He was kind of a part of running it last year, so they've always played great defense, and we saw last year we struggled a lot against those guys, and it was a close game and a tough game. Their special teams guys are back, so they should be sound in FAs. So they're a 5-7 football team from a year ago. Got a lot of guys back, veteran staff. It's a team a year ago, if you look statistically in our game, it's basically an even game. We might have had 30 more total yards. I think we had one more first down. I think third downs were 7 of 18 for both teams. And the difference was at the end of the game, they're trying to tie it up, and we had a player make a play and get a pick six, so it's 36-22. So we see it as a strong matchup, and we look forward to going down there and playing those guys. Back to us with preseason, I think we've been pretty good. Very solid in our approach. I think we got a lot of seniors, so I think our kids, are practicing the right way, coming to meeting rooms and taking care of their bodies. And I think we just got better buy-in on how to work, so practice can be more of a positive environment because they understand the process of practice and resting and sleeping and eating and cold tubbing and resting and all that stuff. So they've been really, really good there. Coming out of camp, I think we've gained a lot with the toughness and the depth that you need. So we've practiced hard, but we're also very, very healthy. We've had a few nick-ups and a guy might be held out, gets an ankle sprain, but he's back 3 or 4 days later, whatever. So we're very healthy. No updates, injuries other than, again, Jay Sean waiting to do surgery, and Camion Patrick and Robert McCray will miss, the first handful of games, so that's nothing new there. And we've got some guys coming out preseason just based on their preseason reps. Are they ready to play game one or not? Are they ready for game two? Some of those freshmen and some of those guys have been backup roles. How large are those receiver and running back and defensive players and special team guys that you guys see? But for most importantly, like I say, I think we're better and we're more healthy coming out preseason. So I really respect and appreciate the kids and staff, what we're going on. Defensively, you start, we talk to Tom Allen. I appreciate everybody saying, somebody says our 5th defensive coordinator. It's actually the 3rd guy that's ran the defense. And if you're saying that we are on our 4th offensive coordinator. So you can see just think about that and the impact that had. So we could have, instead of just, right there. So for whatever. But Coach Allen has came in, just pointing out statistical facts. Coach Allen has came in because statistically we're 6-7. And this is a brand new year. Those are stats, and those are facts. Coach Allen's came in, done a great job with the staff, with the guys, getting the staff on the same page, having a practice standard of energy, paying attention, getting the calls, communicating, getting it right, playing hard. We've got a lot of guys back. We've got a lot of guys got to keep getting better. But we got some guys on the same page, and it's been very, very encouraging. I think they've had a very strong preseason against our offense. Have 15 spring practices, 15, 16, 18 summer practices where coaches aren't there, but the kids kind of still run the system and base stuff. And with the linebackers back and everyone back in the secondary, and I think the game is evolving where you got to stop the run, but you start from the back to the front, and the ability to stop the run but not give up pass plays. And you've seen how we played, our inability to be good, that's been the Achilles heel. Because if you're loading up to stop the run or you're giving up the pass play, if you can't stop the pass play, and you got to break back to running the ball on you. So you still start with stopping the run, but with so many guys back, and Coach Allen, I think, doing a good job. The defenses, there's been great buy-in. Now we're going to have a bunch of bumps and bruises and hiccups along the way now. So it's not like he's got it all figured out. He's got things he believes in, and we ain't got it figured out. We're going to have guys going to step up. We're going to get guys going to get knocked out. We're going to have some things that go our way. They're going to make plays on us, whether it be in the first game, second game, third game, every game. It's how you continue to respond and how you continue to improve. So we're a lot better. I'm excited to see where these guys start, but I'm really excited to see how they go through the year. I think it's got a chance to be really, really good. Kicking game is really solid with our kicker and Oaks. Long snapper Danny Gotzel's awesome. Return guys. And we've really pushed our punting game. We've basically have put as much pressure on Joseph Gideon, Drew Conrad out of Center Grove freshman, and put a lot of pressure on those guys just with the practice reps and what's at stake, because those guys don't have game reps. And so it'll be really interesting to see how those guys handle first kick for real when the clock's moving, the lights are on, and it's for real. But he's got a huge leg. Gideon will be our guy going out there first, and I think he's came a long way. Excited to see him play. Offensively, you got some experience back. You got 4 fifth-year seniors in the line. You got a couple good receivers in Ricky and Mitchell. Simi Cobb's a veteran back. Divine Redding, veteran back. A lot of good skill guys. And what's been encouraging is that our quarterback play through camp's been really good. And not just who the quarterback goes out there is going to be first, but the group. The group is a better group than we've had since the 13th season, where we had a couple, 3 guys you could win with and play with. We've always had a first quarterback. We've always had a second one. We've always had a third. But you want 1s and 2s and 3s that can play. And I think we're closer to that. And I really respect how those guys have kind of came on and went through their deal. Going through our team right now, and I don't know, did you put the depth chart out yet? Cool, so you guys got it. Brandon Knight and Coy Crunk will be playing a lot at left tackle. B Knight's got a little bit more experience, but Coy's had a great camp. I'll expect both those guys to play. Wesley Martin and Jacob Bailey, Wes is strong, starters, a redshirt freshman, strongest player on our team, him and Nate Hoff, and a great 5th-year player, and Jacob Bailey's going to play a bunch. Wes Rogers at center is solid with Stepniak, and Bailey can play center. Dan Feeney, one of the best players in the game. We got Devondre Love, with Delroy Baker being a little bit better tackle. Devondre's a big tackle, but we're playing him at guard, and he'll be either one, and is a good young player for us. Demetric is a 5th-year guy, so the line's pretty solid. No real changes except Brandon Knight, who started out a little gimpy. He's had a great couple weeks, and he and Coy will handle left tackle. Tight end position down there, you got Danny Friend, you got Jordan Fuchs. Ian Thomas will definitely be playing, and we just listed 2, but Ian's the junior college player, I think he's number 80, correct? That's the number I've been watching in practice. I'm assuming that's his game jersey, right, Keg? Mitch didn't give me on that, did he? He's 80, right? Okay, good. Sometimes they switch those practice numbers and they'll tell me. But he's doing well. Ryan Watercutter, walk-on player out of Dwenger, will be in the mix. So we got some depth at tight end if we need it. Receivers, we talk about those guys with Luke Timian as a quality backup and going to get a lot out of Westbrook. Isaac James is stepped in there. And really, we got Ricky Brookins playing there. That's where Jay Sean was. So that's the one little glitch on the depth chart. Richard Lego's got the bulk of the work for several weeks. He's been the one. He's gotten every 1 rep except when we rotate Xander Diamant or Danny Cameron in there, so he's kind of been the one. It wasn't a formal announcement needed to be made. I mean, the team has been practicing, knows it, and the timing's been there, so we actually evolved to that after about the 7th practice. So he's kind of been the guy. He's handling it well. Looking forward to seeing how he's been statistically the best guy. You know, he's 240 pounds. He's 6'5 plus. Xander is better than he's been and gives us, I'm not for playing two guys, but Xander gives us a niche, and so his ability to run around, and quite honestly, Richard moves and runs much better than what we have with Nate. No disrespect to Nathan, because I know he's doing a great job with the Redskins right now. But Richard can move around, but you know, Xander gives you a dynamic, and if there's the need to play that during the game, even early in the game, with Xander being a third-year player now, you know, you don't want the offense to get out of rhythm, but you need to take advantage of some tools. And instead of going to Wildcat where they know you're not going to throw, Xander's throwing the ball better, gives you a skill set. And quite honestly, it's kind of an or there because Danny Cameron's closed the gap and is really managing the offense as good as anyone besides Richard. And so Xander can make some plays, and Danny's matching, moving the team as well as any of those guys. Haven't mentioned Austin King, who is still doing awesome and will be traveling and is more talented than maybe the first 3 guys I just said. He's had a great camp. So quarterback's better than it's been in a couple years. A couple years ago, we were sitting pretty deep at quarterback. It's hard to be deep there with egos and everyone involved. I appreciate the way those kids have come to work every day. No one's taken it personal. They kept their egos in check, and they've all gotten better, and we're going to need them to keep doing that. We got Divine Redding and Devontae Williams has gotten the bulk of the work there at running back, but Majette will be in the mix. Tyler Natea, the big guy. Clyde Newton's done awesome. You'll see him as a big back. Cole Guest, the freshman, has been very impressive. He will be playing. Very, very good player. So that's offense. Defensively, you're going to see those 8 D linemen and maybe a few more. You might see Michael Barwick and Darren Meminger inside. You got Brandon Wilson, Jacob Robinson outside, Greg Gooch, Niall Sykes. We're going to try to get to 10. Josh Brown, a second-year walk-ons in the mix to give us another body we need at DN. Linebackers, you don't see Damian Willis. You got Oliver and Simmons. You got Scales and Fletcher. And you've also got Damian Willis in the mix and Raekwon Jones. Those guys will be special teams players and playing. Defensive back, you've got Fant and Thornton. You got Bach and Walker outside. Jamie Thompson, who's coming off an injury and back practicing. Probably maybe not playing a lot week 1, but doesn't have a redshirt year. So as he moves through this week, we see what we can get. By Ball State, by the open date, you'll get Jamie in the mix. He's back at practice. He just missed the first couple weeks, so he's a little bit behind. Crawford and Cook have been well. Dutra Fields have been well. Art and Tyler doing good. You'll see Ashawn Riggins, true freshman, 28, a very, very talented corner. You will see him in the mix. And you'll see Marcelino Ball at the Husky position. And he actually should be listed there with Zeke. Kicking, we've talked about that. Gideon will handle the punting. And so that's the team there as far as depth. So like I say, we're pretty healthy, deep as we've been. Got some young guys playing. And last announcement, we've just, last week we told 4 guys, but held off till today. We've got 6 walk-ons that we put on scholarship. And the way we do our thing, that gets us either to 47 or 48 in our 6 years. But the way we do it, it's a 1-year deal. You know, we're in a world of entitlement, and when you sign a guy, it's like a no-cut contract. You know, where in the NFL, they'll get you healthy and cut you in a heartbeat. You know, and Kelly School of Business over here, if you can't pass finite and get that GPA right, you're out of there. You know, they got, was it Business 100X? It's like business school boot camp. You know, I mean, you got to hold the standard. But in signing kids now, they get this no-cut deal with our walk-ons, and I'm a walk-on. It's what I did. But I see walk-ons get content, and we challenge those guys, you got to earn it back. And so it's no guarantee. And it's like a year ago, Andre Booker was on scholarship, and we didn't have enough, and he did nothing wrong, and he wasn't on scholarship. He scored 2 touchdowns the last 3 games. And it was awesome. We just didn't have the money by the time we went out and recruited, and guys do. Andrew Wilson, who I think scored a touchdown in our Purdue game, was on the season before, didn't. So this year, the guys that we've gotten, like I said, we're either 47 or 48, so we're averaging about 8 a year. We got 6. We had 6 to give. And the 6 guys are Griffin Oaks, who had to earn it back, even though he's the kicker of the year in the conference and one of the best in the country. Danny Gotzel, who's probably, if he's not the best snapper in our conference, he's one of them, legitimate player. Mitchell Page, returner, awesome receiver force. Ben Bach, who is slated to start and play a lot. So 4 of those guys are basically starters, and a couple of them pretty good players in the league. And the other 2 guys that are great contributors are Ricky Brookins, that you'll see at slot running back, special teams, kick returner, and Alex Rodriguez, running back out at Lawrence Central, has been with us a couple years, scored a touchdown in the bowl game, I believe. So those guys have all played. And I'd like to mention with those guys, Luke Timian's going to be playing a ton. He's in the 2 deep, didn't have one. You know, it's just a business decision I had to make, and he's also would be an initial counter because he transferred in. He hadn't been here 2 years. So that takes away a high school guy. But Luke's doing awesome, going to play a bunch. Ryan Watercutter, we just talked about it. Dwanger's going to be in the mix playing. Arthur Jones, you've seen him on special teams, is an awesome kid for us at corner. Kenny Arnold, backup linebacker, has been awesome for us. I've mentioned Josh Brown a couple times. He's out of New Jersey as an active DN. I really like a couple of linemen at Greg Fry. I have Nick Ramica and Alex Serrano, a freshman out of Barrington. They're going to be awesome players for us. And then the punter, Joe Gideon. So I think last year when we went to Purdue, we had 17 walk-ons started their career on that bus. I think we had 9 touchdowns last 3 games with guys with walk-ons. So I want to recognize not only those guys that got the aid, and we're proud and appreciate them guys, but those other 8, 9 guys, they're a big, big part of our football program and what we got going on. He came to us because I thought with linebacker depth, we would need him at linebacker. And all we're doing is saying we're 4-2-5. We're starting with a nickel back, but when you play big personnel or big groups, if that nickel guy can't hold up, a Sam linebacker takes that spot, and that's what Clyde played. So I actually thought it might be hurting the team, him not being on defense. But because we're starting in a nickel, he was kind of odd man out. He went back to play some inside linebacker where we've got a lot of seniors and veterans. So he's like 3rd there. He was a great high school runner. And he just, at the end of spring ball, he didn't practice spring ball one time. In spring, he said, I want to go to running back. So the first thing I said, well, we got to talk to the defensive coaches, and are they good? He's going to have great special team value. He's on kickoff cover. He's on kickoff return. He's on punt team. So he's on 3 kick teams. He's got a body. If he does well enough, he got a chance to be in a pro camp because no one plays the fullback. He's 230 couple pounds. He could be 240, 42. One of the strongest kids on our team, about a 4.25 bench. Big hands, catches it well. But he's been very good at running back, and he's natural. And the guys that can run, if you can, you got to get tuned up on protections and certain schemes. But he's a great high school running back. He wanted to do it. He's been a good addition. And if we need it for goal line and short yardage, you might see him. Not just going to be a 2-way player. He still might be playing defense in certain games and certain situations. He's done very, very well. He did train all summer at running back, Pete, but he was not with the coaches. So he's handled it well. He's definitely in the mix to play and play a lot of offense.
Play in this era to play both ways.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, you got guys who are doing it. Michigan's got a great player doing it, and they're a guy. I mean, it's just, you get limited time of what we can do. So a kid's got to be, it's like playing 2 sports. You got to budget your time because you got to study on your own the game a little bit because there's not enough meeting time, and you got to take care of your body. So I mean, there's some mental overload. There's a lot of guys. We have a lot of guys that can play both ways. It's just mentally, can they handle it? I think so. You got to get your best. I mean, Coach D'Antonio's done an awesome job. He took Lippett, a great receiver, played him at corner. I think he now plays in the NFL as a corner. And I think Coach D'Antonio's probably done as good as anyone of moving some guys around like that.
How long is the going forward? I mean, how willing are you to ride the ups and downs through an entire game for a couple weeks?
Got to win. Is he the reason why or not? I mean, so I don't know. Just go play ball. He's been playing good. Other guys are too, though. So it's not like there's no. When we had those couple guys a couple years ago who were good players, we would go to pregame meal and say, who's going to start? Because it was just wasn't like there was a competition. They were both good and they were both practicing good, and we were just trying to win. And the only time we made a change in was if the team wasn't scoring, let's just go to somebody else. It wasn't like if you made a mistake, you're out. Matter of fact, it was the old Coach Smith rule of basketball. Coach Smith never took a guy out after. I know I can't say Carolina basketball in Indiana here, but since I grew up there, I know a lot of people don't like him, but he would never take a guy out after a turnover. He would the next possession because he just thought it was a negative deal. And so no quarterback. They've had picks in practice, and we just went to the next play. It wasn't like So I don't know. I hadn't thought about it. I'm expecting the team to play well and him to play well. And I have more positive visions than negative. You know, we'll deal with it. And to me, he's playing the best. The other guys are playing better. Xander gives you a really good changeup. Do you use that or not? You don't want to get out of sync, you know. And I just want to keep coming along, and you know, it'll be what it'll be, and not being caught. I appreciate the way all of them are playing, because to me, you got to be ready with more than one every game, every week, and for the year. You got to have a couple, and I think we got a couple. And the guy that's going first has really had a very, very good preseason. He's made it like he's playing the best, and everybody knows that. And I think the team has confidence, and I think he has confidence. And I'm sure he's going to have some bad plays, but we'll live with it.
Is his strength accuracy or power flow or reading defenses or pocket presence? What do you like about him the most?
Well, he's got a good arm that can make all the throws. So whether it be the long throws to the field or deep throws, and I think he does pass the ball versus throw it where he can touch it. He's that distant, rear back and rip it. We've really had to work as a big guy. Had to work a lot on his feet, because you know he can move around and such that he can get in some bad positions where his accuracy goes down. So when he gets his feet set, he's really, really accurate. But as a bigger guy, sometimes big guys take long steps, and you can overstride. You can't get through. You're pointed left. You're throwing right. So it's, you know, you can get off. So I know we've worked a lot of preseason drills of all those guys to get their feet underneath them to play with base. He reads it well. I think we got a nice package, and again, he's picked up the offense well. I think communication is always hard in what we do, being able to verbalize and talk, have command presence. And so that, you know, as a young guy, it was getting up to speed there. It was getting his feet underneath him, because when he's setting on target, he's really good. And so are the other guys. And that's where Austin King is really good. He is really good.
I'm sure you've been asked 1,000 times, but what gives you confidence that this defense is going to take that next step forward?
Well, and again, what's the next step? Because we got to get better, and with the way we play, we can be better and still not be where you need to be. So, but you know, I think in our golfing world, Don, it's just driving range to the course. Because on the driving range, going against what is not a bad offense, they more than hold their own, day after day, drill after drill, position on position, and they're corners that are all over some pretty good receivers, and making it really hard to throw. When we get lined up, and I think there's more confidence in the system and what they're doing. When they get lined up, get their feet set and their eyes right, and there's 11 guys doing it, they've been a really impressive defense. Now, can you get 11 guys doing that? A lot of times. Because in the day and age of tempo and no huddle and injuries, and you're rotating guys around, can you get 11 guys lined up, get their eyes on the reads, have great eye discipline, get your feet in the ground ready to play so you can attack? And when we've done that, we've been really good. So I think they go against a decent offense. And I would say right now the defense has won preseason. And it's not, I mean, offense has some nice days. But the defense has been, which to me, when you go against someone every day, you ought to. You get a feel for what they're doing, and you get tendencies. Now, the tough thing in college football, like you know, Coach Stoops has shared with me all the time, hey, man, you guys on offense just run your plays. But on defense, we get a new set of plays every week, and new tendencies and new strengths and new weaknesses, and it's the ability to have trained reaction. Hey, you get this formation, this personnel grouping, this set, this backfield set, what are their actions? What's your alignment? And like I say, when our defense gets aligned, gets their eyes right, and I think they're starting to figure out when 11 guys do their job, one guy don't have to make a play, that the defense makes the play when guys are canceling gaps and they're where they're supposed to be. They've been good. And again, Tom has been consistent with holding his coaches and his players to a standard. And that gives me a lot of encouragement.
What's your biggest concern about Florida International in this first game?
Well, one, you know, we saw them play last year and how they matched up, and should have had the opportunities to win the football game. First game, you know, again, we feel good about our defense, but I'm telling you, we're going to have some glitches Thursday night. And when you do, a veteran, confident defense can cover that up. You went to the course and had your fade, so you made an adjustment that day and played it out. Some guys can't. So to me, the concern is this game one. You've been practicing. We've been trying to do every game situation we can, as much as we can. It's still not the game. How does Richard Lego, like what's his leash? I don't know, but I'm curious to see how he reacts in a game, because I know he's been great in practice. I know our defense has been reasonably outstanding in practice. Can you take that to the game field? And so that's my concern is a little bit more about us. Do you have, it's like, what was our girl's name? Dorada, as a swimmer, wasn't it? The backstroker, right? The one from Stanford? When she won the backstroke and beat the girl from Hungary. And her deal was, I had to convince myself I could do this. So it's one thing to have confidence. Our team truly believe and start convincing themselves that, hey, you know, we've been playing some good football. We're a good football team. And so I'm more concerned about that. You know, it was all, you get new freshmen in the mix, new punter, new quarterback, a couple new skill guys running around, a couple new guys on defense. We've been talking Marcelino ball. You got a new scheme. Hey, when the bullets start flying, do you maintain the calm and confidence, make the adjustments you need? So they're going to be a really good football team. They got a lot of veterans. And can we walk that 2x4 trust board of now the risks are greater? Trust yourself. Believe in yourself. And that's every game. That's every year.
Has the weather here, do you think it's prepared you for what you're going to face in Florida?
Yeah. I mean, it's, you know, I think we're in conditioning well, but we're going to have to play a lot of guys. We went last night, just because it's week for the first game, so we actually had a night practice last night, just to get on the lights a little bit. And when I just pulled up to see what the weather was, it was 87 here. It was 86 at Miami when we started. So, you know, there's going to be humidity. You're going to have the plane travel, you know, which can lead to some dehydration. So we just got to do a great job this week. We got a lot of polishing to do. We got a lot of work to do. We got to get game ready. We also need to not over practice and leave it here. You can go down there and do too much. You can go down there and sit around and get stale. There's all kinds of things that you're looking at. And sometimes as coaches, we probably overlook everything. But as far as, what should you do when you get there? When should you practice? When should you eat? So my thing is, Don, we're going to have to play a lot of guys, and the weather's got us ready for it. And my concern is, I know they're a really good team. I'm really looking forward that when it's for real, do we have the confidence? Because last year early now, you know, first game, you know, we get a block punt. We actually block a field goal against Southern Illinois. Everybody remembers the 2-point play at the end of the year. Second game is this game here where they got a chance to tie it. Third game, you got Western Kentucky, and it's a 3-point game. Matter of fact, we block a field goal to be up by 3. And when they scored at the end, we run the clock out, win by 3. Wake Forest are throwing it in the end zone. So early in the year, are you just mature enough to win close games? Because early in the year, it's not going to be perfect a lot. And can we stay calm and stay collective? Because you look at their team with a returning quarterback and 5 O-linemen like we have, you think they'll be mature. So I think it sets up to be a great game, and I'm just excited to see how our guys react and how we react to adversity. Short term in this game, long term as we keep going through the year.
But I guess the dynamic between Brandon and Coy, I know Brandon missed some time early, but they're at left tackle. You talked a lot about how quickly you think Coy's come along, but just kind of how do you want that to play out early in the season?
Well, Coy's playing well enough. It's almost like, you know, Brandon missed some time. It's almost like Coy's as good, if not better. So it's almost like a competition deal. It's also to the point, too, that if there was an issue with Dimitri Camille, you'd probably play both those guys and kick one to right tackle. That's our 3 best tackles, is Brandon Knight, Coy Crunk, and then Dimitri. And so Coach Fry will handle it. Again, I think you got to play a lot. It used to be back in the day, you didn't want to change the center a lot, you know, and you didn't change the quarterback a lot because of communication and the center quarterback. But all those other pieces, sometimes you can rotate around. I would expect, I got to say, Jacob Bailey. We were high on Simon Stepniak. I'd expect a lot of those guys playing. Not just this game because it's on the road in the opener, but I expect as we go through the year, Greg's going to play. I think he feels really good about 7, and we need to get about 8 or 9. We got about 8 D linemen. We're pushing for 10. You know, if you have your numbers exactly right. The only reason to do it is you could put both quarterbacks on the field at the same time. You know what I'm saying? So you have, yeah, you know, I mean, that was actually the, matter of fact, I think Notre Dame made the comment, like, which I made a year ago, if I rated my team, you two are 2 of the best 3 or 4 players I got. I don't want to take you off the field. So I'm just going to put you out here and we'll work it out. Heard Coach Kelly said it the other day, and everybody thought it was a good idea. I said it a couple years ago, and guys were mad. I just want to get you on the field. So that'd be the reason to have Xander out there. Now, we don't name him receiver. He's not a receiver. He can go out and play in the perimeter. Richard go out there and be a big guy. You know, he could do, you know, but you don't want hits on those guys out there. Just, you know, Xander gives you some running skills that the other guys don't because he is quick, he is competitive. He's a dynamic run guy. And so the only reason you would do that is you would want both those guys on the field so the coordinator wouldn't know prior snap, is it more of a run guy or a guy that throws it a little bit more? That was kind of the dynamic when we had Nate and Trey years ago. It's like, hey, you got two really good guys that have different skill sets.
Ron Cooper's been around a while. He was head coach at Louisville and LSU, Mississippi State, Wisconsin, all these places. Have you gone against him before? And what are the characteristics of his defense?
He was at Eastern Michigan when we were at Miami of Ohio with Coach Walker. This is his first job. He went from Notre Dame up to there. So I remember this day when he put it in, because I remember this day they were stretching ends on, they were doing push-ups and as a former deal, and it was on command. And it was very, very loud because they're trying to teach discipline and how to listen to the calls. He's always been a disciplined coach. He's been a defensive guy. I know it's a little bit different time at Louisville then, but again, we've competed he was at Texas, and I might be wrong, he might have been on that LSU team in the national championship. I believe we played at OU as well. So we've crossed some paths, I think probably 4 or 5 times. Always been a 4-3 guy, quarters, real tough, real physical guy. That's what his defensive play.
You mentioned being a walk-on yourself. Is there a better part of your job than telling a walk-on you got a scholarship and what do you?
Well, I mean, it's really good. Now, everybody's gotten into all the giddiness of the presentations, and a year ago, we had our AD do something that was cool. I told Mr. I go, to me, this is just a big part of our team. I was going to handle it internally. But I wanted y'all to know, because I do think a lot of these are local kids. It's good PR for their high schools and for them and their families. The tough deal is I got a couple kids that are about as good that should get one I didn't have it for. And it's good. I know Fred said years ago when we started, he had made a comment to Alvarez, did he have any advice? And he said, work hard to get the high school coaches on your side in your state and don't minimize the walk-ons. And when I was at Miami of Ohio, we're talking about that with Coach Cooper, walk-ons were big, because we thought, sometimes the walk-on kid could develop. And like a couple of those linemen I mentioned, Ramica and Serrano, the only difference is they're 6'2" instead of 6'4". But one of them weighs 320 pounds. He got pretty good feet, and he's pretty tough. That kid will get into too deep if he just keeps coming along. And so it's a great honor, and it's a big part of our team. And the only tough thing about it was I selfishly wish I had a little bit more for a couple of guys, because I got 1 or 2 more that have earned it. I just didn't have it in hand right now.
Last time we got to check out practice, it didn't look like Simi was active at all. Is he good to go?
Yeah, he got a ham, and he's out there just so he's running this morning. And so he's like he's played a lot, where that's different than Jamie Thompson's missed a lot of time and just getting here. So some of those guys have played more as a coach. You got last night in our practice, I had Cole Guest catching every punt and every kickoff. And I said, you know why I'm doing this? He said, I need to work. I said, no, I need to see you do it more. So I feel good about it. And so, some of those guys they're kind of back with you. If they played, they'll get back in the mix because they've got those bank reps. You know what you got. Now, again, I would anticipate the way he was just running this morning, he'll be full go this week. And like I said, I don't think, other than some of the guys are just moderate, I'd like to think we're going to be game ready with a bunch. So we'll see. And like some of the guys, like we might have been talking about a recruit that we thought could have been in the mix. If he's not playing enough game 1, either he's not ready or maybe he missed a little time and we just don't have enough coaching confidence yet. And you're always trying to get that. And you've got a week here where, as hot as it is, coaches, we need that time, but we can spend too much time on that field and go down with the tired football team. We can also rest, and that means there's a balance there. We're looking at a lot of angles to make sure this team comes out ready to roll, because they will need to. You guys good?
Week 1 last week, you held out 8 or 9 guys. Is there another list of guys that you expect to miss the game?
Well, I hope not. But again, if appropriate times. Well, actually, there was one last year that I just didn't. The players didn't like a guy who wasn't going to class, and I said a guy in a game no one knew about. Wasn't that big a deal. It just wasn't following team rules. So if there is those things at appropriate time, it'll be dealt with.